Ken again. I'm behind the camera, and I just wanted to introduce special guest Jarrod Miller to Flow Tricks, and he's gonna give. I've told you how I feel about turning, but there's so many other ways that you can address it. So I'd kind of like you guys to hear Jared's thoughts about this.
So I think my approach to movement and everything when I'm spinning, not only nunchucks but everything else for me, is a lot about feel. Granted, there is a lot of mathematical dynamic and everything behind it, but I feel like for me personally, it was all just about again, not only flowing with your desired weapon or prop, whatever you want to call it, but flowing your body with that flow. You know what I mean? So, and there's a number of different routes that you can approach to coming there. So like basically, for example, as I'm spinning, I might try to spin my body with the nunchuck as opposed to just keeping this straight forward, just come across and back. There's only so much you can do, but if I take the same swing and spin around, now I've got a whole rotation, and it just makes flourishes and changes and adds a whole lot of depth and dynamic to your style. So, and again, you can go either with it or against it, but again, when you're going against it, you're going to have to change into different patterns and bouncing and things like that, which again, a lot of that will just come from playing around and discovering as you go, but I might even practice, like if I'm going to practice striking or things like that, just kind of spinning and moving with the chucks as what direction they're going in, and things like that, and just kind of play around and just feel free to kind of get crazy, get goofy, and do jumping spins and things like that. I mean, just anything that comes to your mind and feels natural, and that's the big thing for me.
I think Jarrod has a good point in that the way I've been showing you guys has been very structured, but sometimes, man, you just got to be wild. You just got to let it go and just move. Like, I think that's so important to just move. What about Jarrod? How often would you say you should incorporate spin into a flow, like a spinning, turning body into a flow? Like, how do you like to do it?
I like to do it all the time. I mean, as much as your body can handle. Granted, you don't want to get so dizzy from spinning that you're going to fall over and drop and smack your prop on someone or yourself, but I do it all the time. I feel like the martial arts, the standard rock hard, solid one spot, I think it looks really cool, but for me, I just like the flowy, sort of like dancey play sort of thing, so I'm all about doing it every single chance you can.
Yeah, definitely. I've known Jarrod for a long time.
Yeah, a lot of years now.
He's always been he's been one of those ninjas in the background that's been spinning nunchucks for a long time. So he's definitely one to watch out for, and I'm glad that he's come down to spin with us. So another thing is, this is probably for the beginners. Let's address, if you were to watch a person who was standing very still and they needed probably just the most core basic help as to how they could get started spinning, what would you tell them, or how would you start it?
Well, I think for me, again, just do what feels right to you. And discovering what feels right might not necessarily come easy at first, because again, I think it takes a little bit of play to get out of that rigid sort of mind frame where you're, not too uncomfortable with getting hit or doing the wrong move, so to speak. You can just start, playing, even if it's something simple like this. Just go back and forth and sway your body with things. Don't be afraid to kind of get out of the norm, and then once you get comfortable with that, maybe just add a spin, and now you're back here, and so you can go all sorts of different directions with it. I'm trying to think of what else I would say.
How about this? What would you tell a person who's first learning what to avoid? Is there anything they should avoid or try to refrain from doing when they're first learning?
Well, I think one of the big things you want to avoid at first is just becoming discouraged and frustrated, especially when you hit yourself or you don't nail a move on the first try. I think it's especially natural for us, especially the older you get, to want to nail things the first try or the first few tries. And right. Accepting the fact that you're failing is kind of a hard thing to do, not only for your ego, I think, but for your motivation. And so I think a lot of times it's important to if you can, set your ego aside and just approach things. Sometimes it helps just with a drilling mindset, like walk into it almost expecting failure, and then if you get it, it's like the bonus, like the charm at the end, you know what I mean? So like the other day, I was practicing fishtails on contact staff, and I literally spent probably 2.5 hours over the course of 3 separate days. So, I mean, you're looking at 6 hours of doing nothing but practicing fishtails, to where I finally got it and I finally felt comfortable. And every time I dropped it, my big thing in my head was to not get discouraged, not allow myself to get so irritated with the move that I would just walk away from it, you know, because I think that's how we progress is becoming stronger through our challenges. And so I think that's really important, especially at first.
One more question I got for you. If someone wasn't moving and they didn't see a purpose, like why do you think people should add more movement into their flow?
Well, I think adding movement into your flow again just opens up more avenues to the different varieties of styles and spins that you can do. For example, some throws, like behind the back throws, are insanely difficult if you don't turn. Now, there's different things you can do to compensate with that. You can try to angle it over your shoulder, but again, it just allows you to flow so much more easier, and I think it kind of helps remove some of the rigidness in your body and in your flow. And I think when people think of the word flow, you think of like, you know, a steady flowing stream, and so it's constantly moving and adapting to the things around it. And so for me, that's the big thing for me, is allowing yourself to not get stuck in what your prop is doing, but allowing the prop with your body to flow and just do what becomes natural. Again, kind of following the idea of that flowing stream, you know. And you might come into and just with any stream, there are rocks and things that kind of cause ebbs or changes in the current, so to speak. But you can kind of work with those to get to your ultimate goal, and I think that's a really important thing to focus on.
Wow, that was awesome. You guys be sure to like this video if you thought that was awesome. Again, thanks, Jarrod, for sharing your tips on movement.
Yeah, definitely.
And this is Flow Tricks. Be on the lookout for Jarrod, man. He's probably going to be in more videos.
One or two.
Peace.